Hey, Mike.
Hey.
I like birds.
You do, Leo?
I do like birds.
Well, what kind of birds do you like especially?
Well, like when I'm sitting on a porch in the summertime, I like cardinals because they're bright. Well, the male of the species are much prettier than the female. Cardinals are bright red.
Okay.
And if you find out how to sing like a bird, like a cardinal bird, then you can get them to come over and sit on the edge of your porch and talk to you. I like
Very interesting.
cardinals. I like blue jays.
Blue jays are nice.
I like woodpeckers, even though they do damage.
I was going to say, do you like any birds that don't have baseball teams named after them?
Woody Woodpecker. I got a cartoon guy
okay. Well, I don't know about a baseball team called the Woodpeckers. Let's see. What kind of bird? I always like pelicans. Pelicans are funny-looking birds.
They're really fun.
They're interesting.
When you're at the beach and you see a pelican, you're like, what is that? And how much can you hold inside of there?
Or maybe a swallow, too. Because aren't they one of the fastest birds in the world?
They are very fast. Yeah. Hummingbirds are very fast, too.
Those are pretty cool. But I can't remember the last time I saw any of these birds, to be honest with you. But the next bird that we're going to be talking about in our article, I have seen these birds not too long ago. Yeah.
Where did you see them?
There's a park of all places, Victoria, BC, Canada.
What?
And they just have peacocks wandering around.
Oh, my.
It's really weird. You'd expect to find them in some beautiful sort of Middle Eastern garden or something like that in some lovely, lovely part of the world, but not in rainy, cloudy, cold British Columbia, Canada. They have peacocks.
I do know that historically, anyway, they also have them over in the garden that's just beside the National Palace Museum in Taipei.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're still there, but they used to always have peacocks.
Wonderful.
Lots of carp in the pond there, and lots of peacocks over on the side.
Peacocks are cool because no matter who you are, from the biggest, oldest grandparent who's seen everything to little kids, whenever people see peacocks, they kind of stop and watch. Right? I mean, they're big birds, and of course, they have those magnificent tails.
Right.
So we're going to be learning all about peacocks. That's a great subtitle, Peacocks, Nature's Colorful Wonders.
Because like you said, it creates wonder in people.
Yeah. I mean, if people, if you ask a person to name a colorful bird, I'm pretty sure a peacock would be top 3 and maybe number 1. For lots of folks, and they are very unusual. How did a bird develop in that way? They can't fly, can they?
I don't know that they'd be able to fly very much.
Certainly the males
heavy.
couldn't with all those feathers. Yeah, so it's a very interesting creature. Let's find out all about them.
Let's listen to our article right now. Peacocks are among the most beautiful birds in the world. Their bright feathers and graceful movements have fascinated humans for centuries. These magnificent creatures belong to the pheasant family and are found in regions across Asia and Africa. Let's explore peacocks' unique characteristics and cultural significance. There are 3 main species of peacock: the well-known Indian peafowl, native to South Asia, the endangered green peafowl from Southeast Asia, and the rare Congo peafowl found in African rainforests. Although the term peacock technically refers only to males, many people use it for both sexes. Male peacocks display their colorful tail feathers, which are covered with eye-like patterns to attract mates and frighten predators. Female peafowl, called peahens, are smaller and have duller feathers. A mature peacock can reach 1 meter in height and weigh up to 6 kilograms. Peacocks inhabit diverse environments, from forests to grasslands, and feed on insects, seeds, and small animals. Throughout history, peacocks have held numerous cultural and symbolic meanings. In Hinduism, they are associated with the goddess Saraswati and Lord Krishna, standing for purity and considered sacred birds. In Buddhism, they represent wisdom and compassion. Across various cultures, peacocks are viewed as symbols of beauty, prosperity, and eternal life. Their striking appearance has made them a popular theme in art and literature. Unfortunately, peacock populations face serious threats, including habitat destruction and hunting. To protect these remarkable birds, conservation groups have implemented breeding programs and habitat preservation initiatives. In addition, some countries such as India and Myanmar have enforced strict laws banning peacock hunting and feather collection. These measures play a key role in raising awareness of their importance. As we admire peacocks' amazing beauty, we must also recognize our responsibility to contribute to ongoing efforts to protect these colorful wonders for future generations. Peacocks definitely are among the most beautiful birds in the world. I would definitely put them up high in that category. So that first sentence of our article really does make sense. They are a wonder. They are wonderful. They make us go, wow. Their bright feathers and graceful movements have fascinated humans for centuries. So if you see a peacock walking along, it's got quite a few feathers, especially the peacock. These magnificent creatures belong to the pheasant family and are found in regions across Asia and Africa. Now, pheasants are large, long-tailed birds, often have a bit of meat on them. That's why historically in England, if you would go to a lord's house, you might get a chance to dine on pheasant because he might have hunted pheasant in his yard, in his garden, and brought them in and had them cooked in the kitchen. They're a good bit of a meaty bird, not huge, definitely no size like a turkey, but they've got a bit of a body on them, and they've got these long tails, and most of the pheasant family have long tails. Taiwan has some beautiful long-tailed pheasants, in fact. I've seen them looking out windows in different places recording, and other people on their rooftop are raising pheasants. It's always kind of an amazing thing. And they are found in regions across Asia and Africa. So let's take a look at the peacock's unique characteristics and cultural significance. Characteristics being the different character traits, the different aspects of a person that make them unique or make them interesting. Those are the characteristics of that person. If you have a character, if you are a quiet character, then that might be a characteristic of you. You're very quiet. Characteristics are often defining or describing features of a person, or here in our situation, it will be of a bird. And we're also going to talk about the cultural significance of peacocks and how they fit into different societies around the world.
Very, very interesting stuff. So there are three main species of peacock. It says there, the well-known Indian peafowl, native to South Asia, the endangered green peafowl from Southeast Asia, and the rare Congo peafowl found in African rainforests.
That's a lot of information.
That is a lot of information. That's also a lot of peafowls.
A lot of peafowls.
So we're going to be talking about these different types of birds. As you said, they're members of the pheasant family. Pheasant, quail, partridge, even the lowly chicken is descended from the jungle fowl, or that's another type of pheasant. These are often birds that are tasty and don't fly very well.
No.
So there's the Indian peafowl. This is probably the one that we think of when we think of peacocks. They're native to South Asia. Generally, when we read South Asia, we're thinking of India. That's the part of Asia that is generally classified or sort of categorized as South Asia. The endangered green peafowl from Southeast Asia. Now, Southeast Asia is moving more towards us here in Taiwan, but this would probably be Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, that sort of area,
Myanmar.
sort of Myanmar to the east of India and to the south of China. And then there's the rare Congo peafowl found in African rainforests. Very interesting. Central Western Africa, I should say, is where we find the Congo, both the river and the country, the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, a very large area, and they have rainforests there. Think of jungles and whatnot. And apparently there is a peafowl in that part of the world. It's rare, so it's hard to find. And since it's a forest, good luck finding a large chicken that kind of walks around. And I can imagine there would be a lot of things in the area that might find it very delicious, which could explain part of the reason why it's rare. It says, although the term peacock technically refers only to males, many people use it for both sexes. A very good point. Cock, I think, is the general term for a male bird.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Cockerel, right?
But I'm not sure it goes up to like eagles and owls and things like that. But generally, when we think of a cock, and that's also a French term for rooster, which is the English term for the male chicken.
That's C-O-Q.
That's C-O-Q, but of course the same root, the same sound. So cock, yes, would be a male bird, but people use it for the animal in total. So we would say there's a female peacock and a male peacock, even though technically that might not be right. It might make your bird watching or bird scientist friend kind of roll their eyes, but that is okay. But technically, if we look at, the scientific categorization, if we look at how it's sort of described or defined in an encyclopedia or, a nature reference, a science book, it will definitely be, the cock will be for the male. But male peacocks, as it says there, the male version of this animal, display their colorful tail feathers. Those are the ones with those big fan-shaped tail feathers, and as it says, which are covered with eye-like patterns to attract mates and frighten predators. So often they're kind of bluish, greenish feathers. They have the eye-like patterns, especially the larger one right at the end, and they have a huge, it can be like a meter across. This display that they can achieve when they lift and kind of spread out their feathers, their tail feathers, and that's both to attract mates. You will see the male peacocks doing it when the ladies are around, and also to frighten predators, I guess in the same kind of classic natural defense of I'm going to make myself look really, really big, and then you might be too afraid to eat me, so you're going to leave me alone. And that's apparently what the male peacocks could also do with their colorful displays.
No, interestingly, as a side note, there is a verb form used with the word peacock, and it's called peacocking. And guys will often peacock around in a relationship between a male and a female. We talk about a male peacocking. A lot of times it's kind of like when he's trying to show himself off as being
I'm just going to reach for this thing and show off my muscles.
Or you're wearing really nice clothes, got your hair looking good, and you're strutting around. You're strutting like a peacock. So that's called peacocking. And another little weird side note, if you have ever watched American TV, normally, historically, there were three major stations. There was ABC, there was CBS, and there was NBC. And NBC uses the peacock as its logo. These days, I think NBC is used, or the Peacock channel is used as a streaming service. But those are just random things to talk about. Yes, these beautiful feathers, when they're out on display, are used to attract mates and frighten predators. And since we've been talking about the peacock, we're now going to actually mention the name for the female peafowl, called peahens. So once again, the cock is the male. A lot of times the hen is the female. Peahens are smaller and have duller feathers. And this seems to be the case a lot of times in the bird community, that the girls are just not so pretty as the boys. Peacocks have all those beautiful feathers, and the peahens are just kind of brown. And they have some nice long feathers too, but they just aren't so pretty. A mature peacock can reach 1 meter in height, so that's 3 feet, right? And weigh up to 6 kilograms. That sounds like the weight of a relatively mid-sized cat, maybe. So they have a good weight to them. Peacocks inhabit diverse environments. So they live in a wide variety of environments, a wide variety of places, or different kinds of geographical places, different kinds of climates that are out there. So they live from forests to grasslands. These are different climates, right? I'm getting the word out of my mouth. They feed on insects, seeds, and small animals. So now we know just a little bit about the background of these birds from a scientific perspective. We know what they like to eat, where they like to live, where they come from, what the male is called, what it looks like, what the female is called, and what she looks like. So let's listen to our Chinese teacher now for a moment.
Hello everyone, 我是 Patrick 老师，今天讲解的是 Unit 13 Peacocks Nature's Colorful Wonders。这一篇是篇章结构的练习题，介绍的是孔雀。不知道大家是否知道，其实我们熟悉的 peacock 这种说法不是很精确哦，应该呢称它们为 peafowl。雄性呢是 peacock， 雌性呢是 peahen。那做完这篇题目，大家就了解了。此外，我们还可以知道孔雀和宗教文化也有密不可分的关系。在开始解题前，我想再次强调，答题前请同学先看一下我们的选项，心中呢要有一个大致的印象，知道哪一些句子会让文章变得完整。那粗略的呢，把选项稍微排序一下。为什么可以排序啊？因为有些选项它本身有足够的线索， 让我们大概可以猜得出来它会是在文章的前中后哪个地方。那请同学在答题的时候一定要记住，文意概念上要承先启后，所以要记住八字真言，前后连贯，文意通顺。好，那我们一起来解题吧。那请同学先看到第一段，第一段呢，最后一句其实就是文章的主旨。Let's explore peacocks' unique characteristics and cultural significance. 这篇文章要探讨的是孔雀的特征，还有文化意涵。我们看第一题，题干开始前，这里介绍了孔雀有3大分布区域，南亚、东南亚，还有呢比较罕见的一种是分布在非洲雨林。尽管 peacock 这个词汇严格来说只能呢指雄性的孔雀，但是很多人讲到 peacocks 的时候所指的都是不分到底是雄还是雌。题干后面提到雌孔雀又称作 peahen， 体型呢比较小，那羽毛的颜色呢也比较暗淡。既然前一句提到孔雀不分雌雄都统称为 peacock， 那后面一句又仔细的介绍了雌性的体型毛色，那么空格这一句应该就会介绍雄性，所以第一题我们选 E Male peacocks display 这个句子。好，它所指的是雄孔雀会开展它们尾巴色彩鲜艳的羽毛，那上面呢有很多的图案，像眼睛一样，可以吸引交配的对象，那也可以呢去嚇阻天敌。
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Did you know that throughout history, peacocks have held numerous cultural and symbolic meanings? Have had those? I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I did, because you just told me, and it's written in our article. But yeah, I guess that is true. I mean, the peacock throne, isn't that what they used to call the Shah of Iran? I think the former the latter king of Persia, who of course was overthrown in the Iranian Revolution of 1979. I believe his royal house, the royal family, was called the Peacock Throne. They used that as one of the symbols of their sort of right to rule, in the same way that the lion or the bear or the tiger can be used in other countries and cultures. So yeah, they're very, very famous. They're very beautiful. They're very popular, and they've long fascinated people. In fact, so much that they are tied up in certain religions. It says in Hinduism, they are associated with the goddess Saraswati and Lord Krishna, standing for purity and considered sacred birds. So there you go. As we learned, the peafowl, or the peacock, the one that we know especially well, comes from South India, so South Asia, I should say, which is India. And Hinduism, of course, is the native religion of India. Most people in India are Hindu. There will also be a large group of Muslims there, but many people are Hindu. And the peacock is tied up with all of their cosmology, with all of their gods and goddesses. And I'm sure there are myths and legends of Hinduism that feature peacocks as sort of these, sacred birds. The goddess Saraswati and Lord Krishna, who I've definitely heard of, they stand for purity and are considered sacred birds. So they're they're idealized. And I guess in Christianity or in the Old Testament, the dove is often, kind of featured in stories and parables as a symbol of peace and purity and that kind of thing. So in Hinduism, over there in India, they look to the peacock. Purity, meaning pure, meaning godlike. You live like a saint or a monk. You don't sin. You don't do bad things. You're very religious and very holy, and very disciplined in your behavior and following God and all the religious rules. And if you are that, or if you're sort of famous or important in a religion, you are sacred. Something sacred is very highly respected, highly valued, highly worshipped. In a religion, we could have sacred people like saints, like Jesus. We could have sacred buildings like a cathedral, sacred symbols like a cross in Christianity, or things like that. So something very, very holy that is very, very closely connected with a religion is considered sacred. And in Hinduism, peacocks certainly are. And not only for Hindus, but for their, not too close, but cousins, Buddhists.
Right. And in Buddhism, they represent wisdom and compassion.
There you go.
A lot of times in Buddhism, you think of it as well, it's based on the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, right?
Who came from India originally.
Who came from
right?
India originally. But
okay.
it's kind of spread over many different countries in Asia and talk a lot about suffering being inherent and in life, and you can escape this by cultivating wisdom and virtue. And interestingly, something that has wisdom and virtue, I guess, would be idealized through the peacock. So it says the peacock represents wisdom and compassion. Compassion, I don't know if this is the right way to look at it, but calm means together, and passion is, that emotion or passion. So it's a feeling for other people. It's an emotion that you have for other people, a sense of, hey, I feel bad for you for what's going on in your life. I feel with you about what you're having to do these days. It's a sense of just, wanting to make other people feel better when they're going through rough times, or having a sense of pity for folks when they're just not doing so well, and pity in a sense of, but I want to help. Across various cultures, peacocks are viewed as symbols of beauty, prosperity, and eternal life. That's pretty cool. I guess those eyes on the feathers kind of make them look like they live forever, because they're just staring back at you or something like that. I wonder what the Aztecs or the Mayans would have done with peacocks if they'd been around, since they have some really cool glyphs based on, I think, like a snake bone, a snake's sacral bone, so butt bone. So I wonder what they would think about peacocks and their glyph making of other universes. Their striking appearance has made them a popular theme in art and literature. So you see it in lots of different places in art and literature. A lot of times, beautiful paintings of the 1800s of people relaxing in their garden and having a nice day. You might just see the peacock going by. And that would have been for a very wealthy family, probably. The whole Bridgerton show, Princess Charlotte is always bringing in animals like peacocks and zebras, and I think she had a giraffe or something at one point. But yeah, they've been showing up in different places over history. Unfortunately, peacock populations face serious threats, including habitat destruction and hunting. So while all this background that we got on peacocks is all great and fascinating and interesting, got to watch out, because sadly, unfortunately, the peacock populations, the peacocks that live around the world, they're having to deal with some problems, some threats, some things that are trying to get rid of them, to eradicate them. And some of those things include habitat destruction, so the destroying of the places where they live, and hunting. So people coming around and going, ha ha, peacock, which is not a great thing if you are trying to maintain a peacock population.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think of seeing peacocks, I'm pretty sure there are very few people who've ever seen one in the wild. We've seen them in parks in Canada. We see them in zoos. We see them in many places, but not sort of just wandering around the forests of South Asia. So yeah, habitat destruction. People are building houses and cutting down forests for more farmland or things like that. The places peacocks have lived for thousands of years, they're disappearing under human development. And hunting, I guess people would hunt it for food. They might catch them in order to, send them to zoos and gardens and parks around the world. And I imagine they have to be hunted for those beautiful feathers, which you still see used as decorations and, in clothing and whatnot. So they face many pressures, many challenges to their survival in the wild. I don't think we're going to lose peacocks, but maybe they're only going to be existing in gardens and zoos and not in the wild anymore. And of course, that would be a terrible tragedy. So what do we do? It says to protect these remarkable birds, conservation groups have implemented breeding programs and habitat preservation initiatives. All right, well, they're doing the nuts and bolts, the basic work of conservation. Conservation groups are people who are working to save the natural world, people like Greenpeace and others. So they're trying to stop things from getting too bad for the peacock. They're trying to implement breeding programs. Let's make more peacock babies by having more peacocks be created. So they might catch them, or in some way try to bring the men and the males and the females together to have a higher number of peacock babies, or peacock eggs or young born in certain areas, and also preserve their habitat preservation initiatives. Habitat is kind of like your environment, but specifically it's where a certain animal will live and all of the natural things in that environment that help the animal to survive. So places for it to find shelter, places for it to get food, places for it to get water, and also keeping it away from too many dangers, too many predators or hunters or human destruction or anything like that. So preserve the areas that they live in, keep those places nice and safe, maybe by building or creating more national parks, for example, in certain areas, and also, laws to protect them. And so these are different initiatives that these conservation groups are engaging in. An initiative is kind of like an effort or a campaign. It's something that you're trying to do and the way that you're trying to do it, all right? So we're trying to get more kids to read books and spend less time on their computers. What do? We give books to students in schools. We build more libraries. We make reading fun. We have celebrities advertising how reading is cool. And, all of these efforts all together will hopefully, achieve something good or, get us a few steps towards a good target, a good objective, whatever that might be. So there's many different things that they can do. Education programs. Maybe if there's hunters in India who can't find food or money or, work in other ways except through peacock hunting, we can get them to engage in other forms of business and other forms of earning a living. And all these different efforts, all these different plans and objectives and initiatives will hopefully be working. And in some countries, they do actually have laws, right? New laws to protect the peacock.
Yeah, and it's mentioned here, it says, in addition, some countries, such as India and Myanmar, have enforced strict laws banning peacock hunting and feather collection. So India has strict laws. Myanmar has strict laws. Myanmar being a country that is on the Bay of Bengal, has a Tropic of Cancer going through it, has a population of like 50-something million people, and is in a period of significant unrest and has had a really, really, really desperately bad earthquake hit it recently. And they enforce strict laws, these two countries, as example. If you enforce something, it means you hold it up to be, you make sure that it is followed. Police often make sure you follow laws and rules. A university will make sure you don't cheat. They will enforce the code of conduct and make sure that you do not do things that you shouldn't be doing. So here they're making sure that you follow strict laws, and these laws ban, they stop, they prevent certain things. You can ban people from doing things. A person can be banned, like, for example, if you get on Fortnite and use the wrong credit card, you might be kicked off of Fortnite if that's still a thing these days, and then you're banned from playing under that character and you have to go and use a different character. You can be banned because of your bad behavior, or you can be banned because you're just not following along with everybody else. But here they're stopping you from doing something that you shouldn't be doing. They're banning you from hunting peacocks and from collecting feathers. While peacocks do molt, when you molt, you drop off feathers. Peacocks do molt. It'd be probably okay to get those feathers, but that's not what's going on here. They're hunting these peacocks and getting extra feathers. These measures, these things that are being carried out, play a key role in raising awareness of their importance, the importance, that is, of peacocks and their staying alive. As we admire peacocks' amazing beauty, so we appreciate how gorgeous they are, we must also recognize our responsibility, our need to contribute, to help out, to give something, to give time, to give effort, to give money, to give energy. That's what you do when you contribute. You give something to ongoing efforts to protect these colorful wonders for future generations. Somebody who's protecting us for future generations is our Chinese teacher. Let's listen now.
接下来我们看第二题，这是第3段的第一句。我们看后面的句子 ，In Hinduism, they are associated with 这边，这里所指的呢是在印度教当中，他们和妙音天女，或有些时候我们也可以看到翻作辩才天女，还有和黑天有关。所代表的是纯洁，而且呢是大家会觉得非常神圣的鸟类。紧接着又说明孔雀在佛教当中象征智慧、慈悲。后面呢说明在很多文化里面， 孔雀是美丽、富庶、永生的象征。那由此可知，第二格呢需要一个段落的主题句，方便后面的句子进一步的去说明孔雀在文化上的意义。所以第二题我们选 A。Throughout history, peacocks have held numerous 这个句子。好，这里所指的就是历史上孔雀呢具有众多文化还有象征的意义。好，那在接下来我们看第三题，这是第4段的第一个句子。我们看后面的句子，为了保护这些珍贵的鸟类，保育团体已经实行繁殖计划还有栖息地的保护措施。后面更具体说，某些国家严格执法，禁止猎杀孔雀。因此我们可以推测，这个第一句应该跟孔雀所面临的生存困境是有关的，所以后面才会讲到我们有哪些保育措施嘛。所以第3题选 D。Unfortunately, peacock populations face serious threats 这个句子，那所指的是不幸的，孔雀的数量面临了严重的威胁，包括呢栖息地受到破坏，还有猎捕。那最后紧接着第4题，我们后面的句子 As we admire 这里我们赞叹孔雀惊人的美丽的时候呢，其实也应该要意识到，人类呢是有责任要为我们后代做出贡献的，要持续努力的保护这些色彩斑斓的自然奇观。那前面的句子已经讲到了保育团体保护了孔雀的栖息地，那印度还有缅甸这些国家也立定了法律要严格的执法。因此呢，我们可以去推敲出来，这个空格应该要填入就是这些措施它所带来的相关的影响。那接着才能够衔接空格后面对读者呼吁大家呢要负起责任来，为后代保护这些美丽的生命。这算是我们后面的结尾嘛。所以第4题就选 C。These measures play a key role in raising awareness of their importance。这些措施很重要，让大众更加认识孔雀的重要性。好，以上就是我们针对这一篇篇章结构所做的中文解题。谢谢大家 ，See you next time.
We hoped you liked our story about birds today. We definitely got caught up in the wonders of peacocks.
Absolutely. I think they're much more interesting than I ever knew, and we didn't even talk about the African Congo peafowl.
What?
That's a whole other thing.
For English Digest, I'm Leah.
And I'm Mike.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.